Assalamualaikum, my name is Anis Razana binti Zulkifli, metric number 1815938, and today I will be presenting on my case presentation for my counselling practicum. For the first slide is counselling site. The place that I choose to do my counselling practicum is at SMK Lembah Keramat. SMK Lembah Keramat is located at Gombak, Selangor. So for this school, there are 3 counsellors. The case category are interpersonal, next interpersonal, lastly is family issues. For the type of the case is remedial. So me and client are trying to solve a problem that she has, which is regarding her irrational thoughts. The next part, which is about theoretical orientation. I believe that every counsellor holds their own theoretical orientation, and as for me, I choose REBT from Albert Aries. In this theory, I focuses more on ABCDE model, which in ABCDE model, every letters in it represent its own meaning, and I choose this theory because it is suitable with my client, because my client has a lot of irrational and negative thoughts within herself. So with this story, I will try to dispute it and try to make my client to change her irrational thoughts to a rational one and a good one. To the next part, which is about identifying information. So as you can see from the slide, my client is a 13 years old girl. She is a self-employed client. Her parents was divorced when she was 4 years old, and now she lives with her mother and her 2 older brothers. She is the last child and the only daughter in her family. Ever since her parents was divorced, her father never contacted her. Her father also didn't give alimony towards her family. And then her father has remarried 3 times ever since her father has divorced with her mother. The important part about the client is she is a fan of BTS, which is a South Korean K-pop singer. But she is a smart girl because she is from the first class out of 9 class at the school that she went. First, she said that she was stressed, but then I have listened to her problem, which is she said she's stressed, and then she still want to have another session with me. And then after I did more sessions with more, I discovered that she is actually feeling stressed because of she has an unfinished business with her fathers in the past, and she also has a problem with her friends. Secondly, about her family history, the client's family history is her parents was divorced when she was 4 years old, and now the client is living with her mother and her 2 older brothers, and he has lost contact with her father. Thirdly, about the interpersonal and social relationship of the client has a good relationship and a close relationship with her mother. However, the client does not have any friends at the school except for her online K-pop friends. For the academic part of the client has a good academic performance, which is she is from the first out of 9 classes, and her teachers also like her. For the medical history, the client mentioned that she has no medical history, and for the counseling history, the client mentioned she has never attended any counseling session before, and this is her first time to attend a counseling session. For the cultural specific, the client is Malay and the religion that she practices is Islam. Let's moving on to the next slide, which is about presenting issues. The first session, the client claimed that she is stressed because of PDPR. Meanwhile, in the third session, the client mentioned that she has a problem of family, and she said that she has a problem of fake friends. The session for this client is 7 session, and it has been conducted within 2 months. The client is self-referred client, as she is voluntarily approached me as soon as I spread the poster of me promoting my counseling service. Under treatment plan, I will discussing about assessment of the case, next treatment goals, next issues identified, and then summary of the sessions, and lastly is treatment intervention. And under cognitive or thoughts, you can see that she is she already thinking about her academics in the future. Under her cognitive thoughts, I can observe that the client has a lot of irrational and negative thoughts due to the past event that has happened to her. Under assessment, observing, which is emotional feelings, and observe from the client is at first the client do not like to cry because she has a thought that cry is for the weak, thus she likes to suppress herself from crying. Emotional and feelings, I can observe that most of the time client shows the feeling of that she is hopeless, that she can't solve her problems. Under behavior action, what I can observe from the client is the client gives full commitment and cooperation throughout the counseling. This can be seen whenever I ask the client to do something, she is willing to do so. Most of the time, my client shows that she really needs me. Even though we will have a counseling session tomorrow, but she already wants me today. Overall, I can say that the client has unfinished business with her father in the past, that which caused her to have irrational thoughts that everyone would leave her and she will never be loved, appreciated by everyone, and her thoughts and irrational and negative thoughts become stronger when her friends that she thought that is a true friend is actually left her to The first one is to solve the unfinished business of the client with the father. The second treatment goal is to educate the client about toxic positivities. Third treatment goal is to dispute client's irrational and negative thoughts. For the first session, I have tried to build rapport with the client, and I ordered her fill in all the forms of intake forms, consent form. I let her to take DAS test in order to see her level of her stress. Second session, I have tried to build rapport again with the client, as the client still seems that she's shy. I tried to build rapport with her by playing with an activity of playing 2 facts right and 2 wrong facts. For the third session, I ordered the client to draw anything that comes to her mind when she is feeling stressed, which makes the client drew a rose, and then she said to me that she portrayed herself as a rose because she wants her father to treat her with good care like other fathers did to their daughter. On this third session, I do a scaling question under SFPT theory. I asked the client to rate from 1 to 10, which is the most 10, on how much she wants to talk to her father, and she gave me 10. The fourth session with the client has been conducted since the last session shows that the client really wants to talk to her father. Therefore, I made her to do an empty chair, so do a scaling question. On this session also, I educate her on the bad effects of toxic positivity, and then I also encourage her to cry even when it is hard by doing a music therapy. Next, for the fifth session, I have used ABCDE model, and I educate her about the past, his history, and then I use of miracle question, and then I use disclosures. On this session, I teach the client about CBT to handle her negative thoughts, and then for the next session, we terminated the session. For the first treatment intervention is the client will be able to deal with her unfinished business with her father in the past. Second treatment intervention is the client will acknowledge the bad effects of toxic positivity. Lastly, the treatment intervention is the client aware on her irrational thoughts and knowing how to challenge it with positive self-talk. So for the first treatment, with the issue of that the client has the unfinished business with the father, so the theory that I have used for this issue is I use the theory of gestalt therapy and the technique of empty chair. So for this empty chair, I did with the client. I ordered the client to take any chair in her house and then put the chair in front of her and imagine the chair is her father and let it all out of what she wants to talk to her father. After I have ordered the client to do empty chair technique, I use the theory of solution focused therapy, and I use the technique of scaling questions in order to ask the client to rate from 1 meaningless to 10 is the most that she is feeling. This has been done in order to see whether the unfinished business with her father has been solved or not.
Here are some of the quotations from the client from the empty chair technique that we have done. Meanwhile, here are the rate from the client from the scaling question that I asked her after we done the empty chair.
The second treatment is the issue of the client is the client practices toxic positivity without knowing the bad effects that it would give to the clients. The theory that I use is CBT, which is psychoeducational. I educate the client about all the things about toxic positivity, such as about the signs of toxic positivity, bad effects, and how to cope it. For this music therapy, I will show the client the song from one of the BTS members, which is RM, and the title of the song is Moonchild. I will share screen on Google Meet from YouTube, and I will show the English lyrics of it, and then the client needs to listen to the song until the end, and then she herself will interpret the lyrics of the song on what the message for the song trying to deliver. The goal from this technique is to make the client more realize that it is fine to cry, it is okay, until they are finally feel that they are fine, so they do not need to suppress herself from crying anymore by listening to the BTS heart song. Treatment 3, the issue is clients have a lot of irrational and negative thoughts within herself. This is the ABCDE model, and every letter has its own meaning, which is activating event. The activating event of the client is her father and her friends left her. From the activating event, the client has a belief that, as you can see from the slide, I will never be loved and appreciated by anyone. These are all the dialogues that have been said by the client. Next, for the next letter, which is C, consequences, I ask the client what is the effects of her for having those beliefs that she has mentioned just now, and then she said that she will distance herself from everyone, and then she will keep being sad for a long time. But moving on to the next letter, which is D, dispute, I tried to dispute the client's irrational and negative thoughts by asking her question of when she has a belief of maybe this is my fate. I try to dispute her thinking by asking her a question of, have you tried to put any effort in changing your fate? And then she said no, and then it makes her think, because she thought she said to me, because she said to me that she never tried to approach anyone after she has a fake friend, and she being distanced from everyone. She said that she just prayed to have a good friend, but she didn't put in any effort. So I asked this question in order to make her think in order to dispute her irrational thoughts. The last letter is E, which is the effective new belief. After I tried to dispute all of her negative thoughts and irrational thoughts, she finally has a new belief, which is on the slide. As you can see, here are some the effective new belief that she has. Which is first one, if I actually put an effort in being fair with people, then my fate can be changed. Everyone will not love me. It's not true because there is my mom that loves me. I get nothing from being sad for someone that are so sincere with me. So after I have done all of the sessions with the consult of my client, all the treatment goals have been achieved. Since all the goals have been achieved, and the client also agreed with me to terminate the session and does not want to have any counseling session with me anymore. So let's moving on to the evaluation part. On the client's progress, there is counseling session evaluation, and I can see that the client gives full cooperation throughout the session, and then I can see that she is able to reduce her irrational and negative thoughts compared to before, and the client has not suppressed her emotions anymore. Progress observed under the client's progress is, I can see that the client has so much improvement compared than before when she first reached out for the first session with me, and then I can see that the client does not depend too much on me compared to before, because as I said just now, the client really depend on me when she really WhatsApp me in most of the time, even at night. But after I have conducted more sessions, she is not like that anymore. In professional assistant, I can see that the client can handle her irrational and negative thoughts so well compared to before. I will touch on the counselor's personal and professional reflection. What I new skills or lessons learned is music therapy. Before this, I have never done this, and it's such a new experience for me. And then I also learned empty chair, conducting empty chair in a virtual way. Under limitation of improvement, I learned that I need to improve more counseling skills and techniques on handling irrational thoughts, because as you can see, this client has a lot of irrational and negative thoughts, and I still think that I didn't do well, so I need to improve more on this. Then I need to learn more technique that is suitable with to do online with the client. I also learned that to use more techniques that could attract the client's interest, because when you use the technique that can attract more the client's interest, they'll put more attention in doing it, and you will feel more satisfied. Self-observation, what I observe by myself, I really need to focus on building rapport first with the client in order to know about the client's problem, because building rapport is really important so that the client will be comfortable to talk about her problems. In conclusion, just like I said just now, building rapport with the client is really important. The first thing that as a counselor I need to do is building rapport with the client, especially when it is conducted online, because when we did not build rapport in properly, the client will not disclose her problem wholeheartedly because she's still not comfortable with us. So we should really build rapport first with the client in order to discover more about her problem. And then find intervention or theory that could attract the client's interest is also important, because when the client is attracted with the intervention method that you choose, and then she will be more focused towards you, and she will put more effort, and you will also be happy when they are really like on what you have prepared with them. Overall, the goals with the client has been achieved, even though we only conducted it as online, and I also have learned so many things with the client.
Here is the drawing of the client that she has done during art therapy. The drawing is where she portrayed herself as a rose. During this art therapy, I asked her to draw on the factor that caused her to feel stressed, and then she drew this beautiful rose. The next picture shows the result of the dust test that has been done with the client. And the result from the dust test that has been done with the client, it really shows that the client has a really high level of stress within herself.
That's all from me. Thank you.